Hey guys, how's it going? Paul Allen here, and today I said I'd just go through a quick presentation that myself and Carol put together for you guys. First off, I hope all is well in America, and sorry for your loss, Brendan. I heard about that, so you have my condolences. But we'll jump straight into this. Basically, after my discussion with Raul the other day, I kind of had a couple of thoughts on your current business model and how we can maybe use that as a benchmark and hope to build a better process with better metrics, similar to what we discussed previously in the business scaling formula calculator that we went through. So I'll quickly run through this. It's kind of a basic presentation, so excuse that and excuse the background here as well. I'm kind of still putting together my home studio at the moment, but anyway, we can jump into it. So I said I'd start off real quick with an analogy. So kind of based on the strategy that you guys are using. So this is Carl, and Carl loves Apple products. And being that Carl loves Apple products, do you think it would be easier or harder for Carl or to sell Carl Android products? So he already loves Apple products, so it's obviously going to be harder to sell him Android. So if it's harder to sell him Android, do you think it would cost more money or less money in advertising to acquire him as a customer? So of course it's harder, and of course it costs more to acquire him. So how that works basically is, say you're putting an ad in front of 1,000 Apple dedicated fans, right? Of course, there's always going to be that 1% of the people that you put your ad in front of that are going to switch to Android, but you still have to go through the other 999. That's less than 1%, so 990 people that have no intention of moving, and no matter how hard you sell them, are never going to move. So while that 1% can still be valuable and can still make revenue, just like you guys have proven, you're still paying to put an ad in front of 990 people for every 1,000 people. So the question is this the most effective model? And based on conversations with Raul, the model can produce a 3x ROAS, return on ad spend, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a very healthy thing, and you can obviously grow a business with those kind of numbers, assuming that you can scale it. But that's as far as this model can go, and it is limited by the search volume of competitors. So you're putting your ads in front of your competitors' search volume. So the search volume will only increase when your competitors do well. And, if one of your competitors goes out of business, you lose a big chunk of that search volume, which means your entire business growth is out of your control. It's in your competitors' hand, and how depends on how well they do. So we'll take a quick look at the model. So this is your current model. So the fear-based Google ad on competitor traffic. When I use the words fear-based, that's basically stating that you need to see this review about X product before you go and buy X product because there may be something wrong with it. So that's kind of a fear-based thing, right? So first off, that's a very negative thing to start off with. But again, it has been working for you guys. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. But the problem with using fear-based marketing is you're saying that your competitor's product isn't up to par for whatever reason, which means there is a product like that that's out in the market, which automatically states that your product is in the same category. So, and I know you go into a review about why your product's better, but it's always got that piece of doubt in your potential customer's mind. So you go from the fear-based Google ad here, and you switch into a bad review of your competitor's product. So you explain about the different things that are wrong with your competitor's product, and you use a table of your top 10 recommended alternative products. So again, there's a couple of issues there with that. Again, it's all negative. So you've got a negative mindset going into your sales funnel. and you've also got the 10 other products. So while you do recommend yours as, you know, number one, and maybe 70% of people that do actually click through do pick on the number one, you're still going to lose another 30% at all those other 9 products. So then you go into a good review of your product, which is quite good. And it's great to have blog content like that, and you get all the top quality scores in your Google Ads and everything like that. Well, that would be at this level, but it's still the same thing to having good blog content out there. It's good for SEO. And then you have a hyperlink into recommending, or a hyperlink within that content recommending your product, and you send them through to your product sales page. And that is it. There is nothing else in that model. So it's a straight line. 4-step model, not including add to cart and all that kind of stuff in this aspect of it. So we're going to take this as a benchmark. The number to beat is 3x return. So taking that whole concept that I mentioned in the business calculator, if this is the benchmark at a 3x return, what we're suggesting is we try to beat that 3x return model. So let's take a look at the weaknesses in this model. So 95% of your traffic drops here. So this just proves the whole fact that it's harder to sell to somebody who's already invested in a brand. So in the analogy, I used Apple as a brand. It can be whatever competitor you're talking about here. But those people are already invested, especially if they know the name of a brand, like in a kind of a pharma kind of industry where brand names are very specific and very, you know, there's not going to be anything else. Like if somebody's searching for Apple, they might actually be searching for apples. But if somebody's searching for Nurofen, there's not going to be something else that they're going to be looking for except for painkillers. So these are very specific keywords. And if 95% of the people drop at your first touch point, I mean, first off, you've spent all that money to acquire those 95% of people. So at €1 to €2 for every €100 you spend, you're losing 95 euros straight away out of the gate. Anyway, so look, the whole point is this just shows that it's harder to sell to people who are already invested in an existing brand. So then stage 2, again, another 95% traffic drop. Now this is based on kind of estimates that we talked about with Raul, and you know, when you're losing 95% to step 1, 95% to step 2, you're paying a lot of money to acquire that traffic, and you're losing a lot of it very quickly. And in addition to that, you've no analytics beyond this point, so you don't even know what you're doing throughout the funnel. Your funnel is not monitored. You don't know what's working. You don't know what's not working. If something breaks, you have to guess. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm just saying in a way that there are better ways to kind of do it. So your product sales page, it's a lower conversion rate in that you're getting 10 to 20% conversion rates depending on the product, from what I understand. But again, there's no analytics there, and you know, there's obviously ways to increase that conversion rate. You know, multiple touch points about re-engaging people, retargeting people, etc., etc. And upsells, cross sells, you can bring up your average customer value and stuff like that we talked about previously. So just as a quick breakdown, it's a fear-based marketing and a high cost per acquisition. It's capped at 3x return. It's never going to do better than that. So it's capped at competitor search volume. That's a big point for me, because the growth of your business is not within your own control. So that would be something I would be moving away from as fast as I could. So the business risks and growth are outside of the business's control, just like we said. But as this is a profitable model, you have found a profitable model at a 3x return. Any change to that model must improve upon the benchmark. So if you're in a negative return situation, then I would be rebuilding the entire thing from ground up. No questions asked. That's where I would start, because you're losing money. But because you're making money, the only thing to do is to bring in a better model with lower numbers. So, you know, if you're spending 70k a month, you're not going to put 70k a month into the new model straight away. You prove it out on a lower scale, and then you build it up from there. So at a lower scale, once you prove out that model, then you can kind of begin to replace the core model that you guys have working correctly right now. But there's no need to do that until we can prove that model first. So that is the kind of idea here. Anyway, so let's look at an alternative. So this is what I'm thinking of as a start point to replace digital marketing model that replaces, or that is focused on front end revenue and front end revenue only. So it's a stage one model, and which can be expanded upon once the base foundation metrics are established. So this is it. Again, this is the proposed model. It's an entire front end sales funnel. In that, we're not building in back end stuff here. Like, you can add on nuts and bolts to this again and again. This is kind of the core of the front end model to bring you a positive ROI at the front end and to expand upon after that. So while it may look more complex, the entire funnel is designed like the current model to build front end sales. Instead of targeting cold traffic, though, we use algorithms and AI to target programmatic audiences here. We use Facebook video ads to filter out uninterested traffic at a fraction of the cost that you guys are currently doing it at. As an example, in your current model, the cost to filter out uninterested traffic is €2, between €1 and €2 per click. So when I mentioned before about the 95% dropping off at your first touch point, you've paid €1 to €2 for each one of those people that drop off. In my proposed model, the cost to filter out that same traffic, the people who are uninterested, is 2 cents per view. So how that works is we can get video views for very, very cheap on Facebook. So we, instead of sending out pay-per-click or pay-per-conversion optimization ads, we send out video view promotion ads, and we get thousands of people to look at the videos. And so we'll go back to the analogy. If I'm a dedicated Apple fan, I'm not going to watch a 5-minute or a 10-minute video about Android products because I'm dedicated to Apple. So I'm going to stop watching that video at close to the start of the video. But if I'm open to changing from Apple to Android, then chances are I'm going to stay watching that video. And we can pixel those people who've watched, we'll say, more than 50% of the video that we've promoted. And that's when we start spending the money to show an actual ad that costs €1 or €2 per click. Once we filtered out the people who've watched only the first 50% of the ad and then given up, or the video, and then given up on it, but we've only paid 2 cents per person to filter out all those people. And then everybody who's left, we know has an active interest, so your conversion rates are much higher, if that makes sense. Again, we tap into the power of Facebook's algorithm here. We allow it to tell us what ad performs best and use it to tell us who's most likely to buy our product. So we don't just run ads, we run conversion optimization ads. So we let the algorithm go out and find people, and every time we get a sale, that feeds into the data to find more people like that. So that means the ad set is continuously improving and continuously bringing down the cost per lead, and reaching more people with a lower budget and increasing click-through rates, etc., etc. Everything basically is continuously optimizing, so it's never stagnant. So doing this allows us not to waste money on low conversion probability prospects. From there, we use a consistently A/B testing landing page. So we are always improving conversion rates. So that's where ClickFunnels comes in. So we're constantly A/B testing everything from, the colors of the buttons right through to the, the headlines, the messages, the content, images, video. Everything is constantly tested. Again, using the same benchmark and test principle. We have a benchmark, say our conversion rate on our benchmark is at 10%. We make a change, we A/B test, and we try to beat that benchmark. Once the benchmark's beaten, we switch that out, and that becomes a new benchmark. So again, the system is constantly developing and constantly getting better and better. And we use exit intent and a lead magnet to attempt to capture anyone that does not buy. So anybody that does not buy, so say if we have a 10% conversion rate, that's 90% of the people that aren't going to buy at this point, and that would be, you know, quite a high non-conversion rate. And obviously that's something we work to develop on, but still, we still optimize every opportunity. So anybody who doesn't actually buy at that point, we can, as soon as they try to leave the page, we use an exit intent trigger to do a pop-up, and the pop-up might be, you know, download a PDF or you know, whatever the lead magnet might be, so that we can actually capture that person's email. And then we send them a value sales sequence. So a value sales sequence, which is different from an actual sales sequence, is we provide as much value up front so that people buy into us as a brand, rather than just sending them, you know, sales. And there's a whole psychological thing that we can get into around that. If, you know, you're constantly pushing out sales messages, you know, people have an inherent block for advertising. Whereas if you're just providing value for free up front, you bring down that barrier, and then note that person is open to you as a brand, and, you know, your product as a brand, and to actually be sold to at that point. So we don't just push out, you know, buy my product. We push out, you know, top 10 tips for this, or, you know, if we can get them little wins before we ever sell the product, then when we actually go to sell the product, the conversion rate is much, much higher. So that's the kind of basic principle there. So again, anybody who doesn't buy at the landing page stage, there's a probability that they come through this sequence. So again, they're reverted back into the landing page. So again, it increases our probability of conversion at this landing page. Again, anybody who goes, say they don't actually follow the exit intent, so they don't sign up to the pop-up, we're still going to retarget those people with a conversion ad. So again, we increase the probability that they come through to the landing page and buy again. So this landing page is continuously cycled, continuously optimized, retargeted. Again, this is a continuously optimizing ad that continuously gets better at pushing traffic to the landing page. If they don't buy, it goes around this way, and if they don't go in through this, then they go through the retarget, and it's a constantly living thing, and it's a constantly optimizing thing, you know. For anybody that does actually buy, then straight away we put them to an upsell, whether that upsell be something that works in conjunction with the product, or whether it, you know, be more of the product. So if they're buying one bottle, you know, why not buy 3 bottles? And whatever the upsell might be. So that's every single person who buys the product at the lower price point is sent through to an upsell, so that we can increase their average customer value. If they don't buy the upsell, we've already captured their email address from buying the first product, and again, we send them through a value sales sequence to buy that upsell. So again, this is a continuously living cycle. Yeah, so that's basically it. So we'll do a quick breakdown of it. So we use smarter strategies and technology to reduce upfront costs. It's a constantly evolving model, and that's the key point as well. So, you know, once we hit that 3x benchmark, and, you know, so we get the 4x within a couple of months or 3 months period, once we hit those benchmarks, doesn't mean we stop at 4x. It's going to continuously get better and better and better. The use of algorithm adds muscle and reduces human error. So, you know, tapping into Facebook's algorithm, or any algorithm out there that kind of works in advertising models, it's a no-brainer, because no matter how smart you are, you're not going to be smarter than an algorithm. You're not going to be able to test as many variations as an algorithm can. So if you're not tapping into an algorithm, you're just interpreting what data you have in front of you, instead of going out and finding the best data that's available for you. So there's no scaling limitations. It's not reliant on search volume. So you can, you know, if you had an unlimited budget, you could put, how many people are on Facebook now? 2.5 billion or 3 billion or something like that. You could put your ad in front of every single one of those people, and continuously to do that if you had no budget. So you're not dealing with monthly search volumes of competitors to determine how much traffic you can get. Your determination of how much traffic you're getting is going to be based on how profitable your model is. And once it's profitable, you can continuously scale that, and you're dealing then with market caps and population sizes. And again, that's a no-brainer. So you're not hindered by anything else. Filtering unusable traffic at low cost prior to trying to convert. So there's no point in wasting money trying to convert traffic that is never going to convert. So we want to filter out that traffic really, really quickly. So we do that at low cost with the video view tactic that I told you about before. So we're utilizing traffic at all stages to optimize for conversion. So once you've paid for traffic, you want to do everything that you can to make sure that you've, tried everything to convert that traffic, because you've already paid for it. So if you've paid for it, you want to get the most from it, right? You don't want to just send them an ad and hope that they go through your funnel and then hope that they convert. You want to re-engage them, retarget them, continuously try to use that traffic to the best of its ability. And obviously that needs to be automated, because otherwise you go mental trying to figure it all out. So that's what we do. So it's a front-end model. Both this and the back-end model can be expanded upon. So this is very basic upfront front-end stuff. So your current model is a front-end model. This is just kind of a more advanced front-end model. If we were talking about back-end models, I mean, you're talking about value ladders, and where you start somebody off with a lower tier product and you build them up to a $2,000 or $3,000 product. And different angles like that, membership sites, recurring revenue, all of those kind of things that can kind of be expanded upon once you have a profitable front end model. And even this front end model can be expanded upon too. So we're not just limited to Facebook. So it works across any product with slight variations. So it doesn't matter what you're selling. Once it's a physical product, a lot of digital products as well, membership and recurring revenue models, they're a little bit different, but any kind of buy upfront product that's kind of under $500 to $1,000 this model will work for. Works across multiple platforms, so that's what I was just getting into a second ago. So it's not just Facebook. So this model is built based on the variables that go into it, right? So if Facebook shut down in the morning, we could switch this model and switch it into LinkedIn or Twitter or Google and YouTube, and Instagram was part of Facebook, but you get my point anyway. So it's not just built for Facebook. It's a model that is designed based on the variable inputs, and you can switch that across to any platform you wish. So additional platform strategies can be bolted on for even better results. So say we get this up and running with Facebook. If it's up and running in Facebook and it's profitable, and we say we've got a 5x return on it, we could then add in Google AdWords, and YouTube say will be the next kind of logical step, right? Which means our retargeting then. So if somebody lands on the landing page and doesn't actually buy, the retargeting doesn't just sit in Facebook. Then we can spread that across YouTube, across Google, across all their networks. So no matter where that person goes, they're going to see your ad, which again increases your probability of conversion. So it builds a foundational, so we build a foundational funnel to send organic traffic through, bringing in more revenue from there too. So what that means is, in the model, the first half of the model is built and traffic is generated through paid advertising. But the second half of the model, where we're talking about the landing page, the exit intent pop-up, the upsells, and retargeting, you can put any traffic through that and it will work the same way. So you can target all your organic traffic through that same model, and that will have an increase in your conversions and in your revenue from your organic traffic. It takes back control of profit growth. So the growth of your company's profit is now in your control and not dependent on your competitor search volume or algorithm changes that might hinder you, especially when you're doing kind of negative marketing or fear-based marketing. So basically, guys, the idea here is you guys have a working model that's bringing you a 3x return on your money, which is great, and well done for getting there and figuring that stuff out. but obviously you're starting to see issues with that at the moment. So what we're proposing is putting in a model that builds a system that builds you a predictable rate of return, and test that against your current benchmark. And once we can beat your current benchmark, then that's something that I would recommend putting in place for your company. Obviously, I would, if we can't beat your benchmark, I'll be 100% upfront. You'll see the numbers yourself as well, and I don't think that's going to be an issue. But if it wasn't an issue, then it would make no sense for you to do it. So the whole point here is just to test to see, will a more technologically advanced funnel and system increase your revenues. Pretty straightforward. So that's it, guys. Look, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure Carol will be talking to you over there as well, and I hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon.